What is going on, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. And today we get patch notes, the greatest day of every month, patch notes day. 9.12 patch notes. Odin's Onslaught is the name, foreshadowing something super cool. Looking at the skins, Tokyo Machine Loki, pretty good. This is probably my favorite skin in the entire patch. If it looks good in game, 10 out of 10. Absolutely fire. Crypto skin looks fine. The Ishtar skin looks good. Poseidon skin looks kind of whatever. Thanatos skin for whatever. Gecko Taverner Cabrakan, sick. Hellraider Hercules, pretty sick. Fox Girl Dodgy, sick. Vulcan skin, somebody said it that it looks like every other Vulcan skin, and it kind of does. This Opwash skin is sick, and this Kepri skin, meh. So, taking a look at Odin's Onslaught. It's the newest adventure mode. I love Smite's adventures. I don't know if you guys do too, but like what made me so addicted to Smite kind of was like the ability to play ranked PvE modes when like the PvE modes are out. Like just thinking back to like the 3v3 Medusa modes, the PvE World of Warcraft Esca modes. I don't remember the name of any of those really, but Smite cars, like they were so fun. Let me know down below what your guys' favorite adventure was, because I feel like I'm missing some and I just want to like kind of relive them vicariously through you guys telling me what the mode was that's your favorite. But let me know. I mean, like look at how beautiful this is. Oh, I'm so excited for this. These game modes are always so much fun. Odin has hired a team of five teams of 2 to defeat the Herald of Ragnarok. This is the Yorm skin up top, I think. Face off against each other to reach a bounty threshold of 35,000 gold. Defeat jungle monsters, players, and a roaming boss for bounties. Secure and deliver trophies for even larger rewards. So this is a 2v2, v2, v2, v2. And you're all trying to just compete to get PvE rewards and PvP rewards. Super cool. I'm not going to go through all this because it's a boatload of information. Like this is what the map looks like. This is all the stuff in the game. All the stuff. But it's all super cool. I'm really excited to be playing this. Next up is the Yule Fest event. A bunch of these skins you can get from the event. Smite Night. I don't know if you guys care about Smite Night. I'll pause for a second. I don't particularly care, but if you guys do, here you go. Some bug fixes. I went through these bug fixes and none of them were that big. I think this one might be somewhat big. Gilded Arrow wasn't loading up properly, or sometimes just not at all sometimes. And then Rangdus Mask was losing stacks sometimes when you would get like buffs or abilities that gave you power or potion of power. So good thing they fixed that also. So this is something I'm going to touch on quickly. Basically, they're adding in a game mode that you can queue only 3 times a day, 10 a.m., 6 p.m., and 2 a.m. And this will be 5v5 Ranked Conquest, and you have to play in full parties. Or I guess parties of any size, not full parties. I don't know why I thought it was full parties. Parties of any size. This is just them trying to find a game mode to have the most competitive type of game. Ranked Conquest, as we know currently, not that competitive. So maybe this will become it. I'm not personally too excited for it, but we'll see. They're adding some SWC things in for the Conquest map. All right, SWC Pret. So this is going to be all world stuff mostly. There's one thing that I know has not to do with worlds and has big worlds implications because it's a buff to a character that's already getting played. Starting with mannequins. They're just nerfing mannequins. It's strong early game. It's very hard to play against. Gods like Erlang, Osiris just dominate the games. Even if they're really weak, mannequins just allows them to just 1v5. On her. A cool buff, honestly. It allows an aggressive god to just be able to be more aggressive more often. If he could pull out your dash or something, he's allowed to jump in more aggressively, and then it'll come back out so he can jump out. I think it'd be cool if they gave him kind of like a Fenrir reset where it's like 15 seconds, but if he hits it, it goes down to like 7.5. So then he can like jump in, and then if he's like chasing you down, he can jump in again, or maybe cut it by like 30%, 33% down from 15 to 10. I think that would be cool, but still nice buffer on her. Don't think it changes the meta because currently the top ADCs are just way too OP. Ishtar, Cern, Cupid just do way too much. So I don't think this brings it on her, but it's a nice buff for him. Ao Kuang. I think Ao Kuang is maybe on the edge of being viable. His only problem is he's very weak early game, and a lot of teams can just bully him out. But 6-second cooldown on his Wild Storm, and then it's just less mana. Very, very nice for jungle and solo Ao Kuang. In ranked, that he might become a lot better. Cucullin. This one is going to have pretty big worlds implications because Cucullin is kind of the world's god. He always just comes out at worlds. Barb Spear going up, 10 damage in both forms. And then Spear of Mortal Pain, Warcry, increased base damage from 165 to 175. I don't know if this is both forms because this one says both forms. This one doesn't. But yeah, double buff for Cucullin. Hebo. He gets a small little bit of buff. Honestly, the movement speed is actually pretty big for him. And the base HP is 100 at level 20. It's only 5 at level 1, 10 at level 2. So I don't think this changes too much, but the movement speed might be a little nice for him. Heimdall. Piercing Sight gets an extra 20 base damage early game. This just makes his early game a little bit better. And because he's already a decent early game god and he's safe into the mid and late game, I'm curious to see if he'll get play. His problem is he doesn't build crit well. So maybe that keeps him out of the meta because crit is kind of the meta in SPL right now. Yorm buff. Whenever Yorm gets buffed, people play him for a couple days, couple weeks, and then they're like, oh yeah, this god is terrible. That's why I stopped playing him. I don't think this changes Ymir as a god. I mean, not Ymir, Yorm as a god. I don't think it brings him out of the meta, so don't really expect much from Yorm. Ishtar, cooldown on her 1, and to decrease the damage on Storm Shot from 85 to 80% of Ishtar's basic attack damage. Again, not really hitting what you need to hit for Ishtar. This is still lasting, I think it's 5 seconds, and then it's on a 10-second cooldown, and it goes on cooldown instantly. And you have to think, abilities that go on cooldown instantly when you use them, think like Ishtar 1, Maui 2, we'll get to that later. Compare that to like Ymir Wall, where you have to drop the wall before it goes on cooldown. This is a very short cooldown already. And then it's also going to be instantly dropping on cooldown when you use it. It's going to be up, I think it's 5 seconds on, 5 seconds off now instead of 5 seconds on, 4 seconds off. But it's still just a very, very strong character. She does a lot of things well. She's good early game, good 2v2, good late game, good on objectives, good for peeling herself, good to CC, good to set up. Literally, she's good at everything, and this doesn't change that. Maui, what I was just touching on. So this, I love these changes. Increased base damage, late game, and a little bit in the mid game. Very good. I think he kind of needs just a little bit more base damage, so he's more scary. Increase the range of this ability at 0 charge. So if you tap this ability now, it'll be 25 units, which is, I think, his auto attack range. Instead of 4 units where you had to be grinding on the guy in front of you or female in front of you to pull them in. Really good quality of life change with that. And then the time to reach max charge, 1.4 to 1. Another good change. I like this change. This change, on the other hand, I do not like. Let me sit up. If you think about Maui, at best, you're maxing this ability second. So you got to keep that in mind. Whenever you see buffs to base numbers, you have to look at when do you max this ability. Gods like Kabrakan, when you're nerfing his 3's level 1 damage, that's the last ability you max. So it's going to be going up very, very late in the game. So buffs to his base damage are going to be very, very effective. This is the ability you max second on Ishtar. You max her 1, 2, 3, and then ult whenever you can. The movement speed's going down or shifted from 4 to 20 to 8 to 16. So now from levels 1 to 9, you're going to have double the movement speed early game. And then from then on, you're going to have movement speed drop by 4%. 4% early game is massive because movement speed has diminishing returns. So 4% early game before you get that movement speed built into your kit from level 1 to 7, this 4% is a lot more than this 4% late game. This will end up being like 2.2% late game because movement speed has DR, like I just said. And this is 8%, from 4% to 8%. There's no DR early game because you don't have enough movement speed. So you're getting a true 4% here. So this shift is a lot less of a shift and more of just a straight up buff. And then on top of that, the protections are buffed at 10 every level. So now when Maui hits level 3 and he's got a point to every ability and he tosses his 2 on the ground, he's giving his teammate 8% movement speed and himself. And he's giving his teammate 15 of each protection and himself at level 3. It is going to be absolutely bonkers playing against Maui in the laning phase. He's going to become so oppressive in the laning phase. It is not going to be funny. He clears well. He fights well now. He takes less damage. He's safer. Everything with Maui just got buffed, except his late game, which is basically the same thing. But I will say this is kind of a buff to his late game. So Maui got buffed at every stage in the game. He's going to be crazy coming into Worlds. I still think he is slightly worse than gods like Yamoja. And with this big Ymir nerf coming up, Maui might be the number 2 support in the game. Next up, Neath. Unravel goes down by 1 second. It's nice. I think this is a little better. I think it passes through all player-made walls. This is bugged, or it was just like funky, where it wouldn't go through or over some walls that were player-made walls. So I think this is just more of a bug fix, but it's a good thing to have. And then Unravel just makes it so she trades a little bit better. 1 second earlier. Tiamat, increased base damage per shot from 80 to 90 to 80 to 100. A lot of people are underestimating how big of a buff this actually is on a god like Tiamat. So her level 1 is the exact same, which is whatever. She's going to be clearing with her jungler. It doesn't really matter. But at level 4, she's going to be getting an extra 5 damage on her 1. Now, let me tell you why that's so important. When you look at Tiamat's 1, she gains orbs every time she holds it in and every time she puts points into this ability at ranks 3 and 5. So now at level 3, she's going to be getting an extra orb, giving her extra damage. And then at level 5, she's getting an extra 2 orbs compared to level 1. Or I don't know exactly how many orbs it is, but she gets extra orbs at 3 and at 5. So you look at level 1, 80 damage stays the same. At level 2, it's 90% or 90 damage. and she's doing extra orbs, and these deal 15% less damage each time. Somebody did the math, and at level 2, you're doing 30 less damage before this buff. Now, after this buff, your 1 is going to be doing extra 30 damage at level 4. She's going to be clearing a lot better, and considering the only weak part of Tiamat's game is like level 1 through like 7-ish, maybe to like 10-ish. Once she hits that level 11 to 20 area, she farms very, very well. She fights well. She's very safe. And she becomes the late game monster that we all know her as. I do think this has big implications for Worlds, and I would not be surprised at all if I see Tiamat played come Worlds time. Next up, Tsukuyomi Kusarigama. This is his 2. He gets extra base damage, 20 base damage because this hits twice, and then there's a final hit, and then 10% scaling, giving just a good amount of extra damage to Tsukuyomi early game and late game. Nice buff. Ymir, the last change in the patch with an absolutely massive, massive nerf. This is absolutely humongous, and this might just kill Ymir. The wall lifetime is now going from 2 to 6 seconds to 2.5 to 4.5 seconds. So he gets a little extra on it in the early game, so less likely he actually points into this ability because it only goes up by 0.5 and it's better early game. But now late game, it's only 4.5 seconds. That is a good nerf to Ymir, but that is not the biggest thing. Shifted the cooldown from 14 down to 10 to 13 seconds at all ranks. No longer is this ability absolutely horrible early game. It's actually somewhat decent early game now. You get 1 second off, and then you get extra 0.5 seconds. But now late game, it's on a 13-second cooldown and it only lasts 4.5 seconds. You also have to keep in mind with Ymir's ability, Ymir's Ice Wall, it doesn't go on cooldown until you drop it. So if you bring it up, and you you keep it up the entire time, it's a 17.5 seconds in between Ymir walls. Compared to before, it was 16 seconds, and it lasted 1.5 seconds longer. This is a really big nerf to Ymir. I honestly think it kills him at the SPL level. He still has early pressure for ranked and stuff like that, so I don't think it kills him in ranked, but I would be very, very surprised if Ymir is still played. I would personally be surprised if he's getting played at all, but if he does get played, I would expect abilities to be maxed differently. Maybe no points into the Ymir wall, or maybe 1 or 2, and then max out his 3 or his 2. But big, big nerf to Ymir. But there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed the patch notes. I love looking at patch. Let me know if you guys have any opinions about it. What you think is getting played at Worlds. Is Ymir dead? Is Maui the best support in the game? Let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See ya.